All right, we are back here on the podcast, getting ready for some more Mandalorian coverage. We are revisiting Chapter 4 of The Mandalorian today. We are going to Sanctuary. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Phillips. Unfortunately, Pete Consadori is still trying to escape the giant Imperial Walker that the pirates had. But we do have Nick Fraietta with us here today. Nick, how are you?
Doing well. Doing really good. Excited to talk about this episode.
Yeah, excited to talk about this episode here. And our first episode, I would say we went through the opening three, Nick. I would say is sort of like the pilot basically of Mandalorian, sets up the whole show. Then these next three are sort of the ones that sort of blend together a little bit of like these are the Mando job episodes where he's just on the run with Grogu trying to find a place to hide, and this is what the first spot he goes to.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So people want to subscribe to this guy, guys. They can do so Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, Amazon, all usual suspects. Simply search for the Sky Guys Favorite Podcast platform for episodes there. And we're about halfway through The Mandalorian revisiting chapter, like season one. Season two is coming up in January, but we do have a lot of fun stuff in between. So make sure you're subscribed.
Yeah, it's only a click away, and we got a lot of fun stuff coming. So, don't be shy to hit that subscribe button, follow button, whatever it's called on the platform of your choice.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. Leave that feedback. Leave those star ratings. They help people find the podcast, Nick. So like if people like what they're hearing. Give us a 5-star rating. If you leave a review, we will read it on the pod.
Absolutely, yeah. We'd be very happy. It goes a long way. Probably goes a lot further than you'd even think.
Yep. And also, people on follow social media, how can I do that?
You can follow at Sky Guys Podcast pretty much on all social media platforms.
Yep. It's our social media comment of the week. We'll go to TikTok again. We got Pete's face on the board here. This is our discussion about Keel from last week. This is a commenter who had a just a smiley face as their name here. So, wow, Keel was such a good dude. He says, totally agree. His death felt early and unnecessary. Not enough space cowboy vibes. This show changes tone too quickly. I see we like that one.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. Um, we said he was a good dude, and he agrees to that. So I think we're all in agreement that he's a good dude. And he goes into his comment here saying that his death felt a little early and unnecessary. I'm not sure I agree with the unnecessary part. I think it was important for Mando to suffer loss, but early I completely agree. It did seem like it just kind of happened, and I'm just like, whoa, whoa, he's gone.
Yeah, it's sort of like felt like a raise the stakes moment for that season one finale. We're getting to about a month from now.
Right. Which I mean, I guess it's not that early because it's I don't like to talk about the future as much because I'm trying to pretend we've never not that we've never seen these before. That it's like kind of our first time watching, but I mean, it's not that short if you think about it. It's a whole season, right?
Yeah, he's basically he dies in episode seven of an 8 episode season. So
I think that it seems earlier because he's not in every episode too.
yeah, he's not in it again until that episode.
Right. So he shows up. Is he in one, two, and three, or just one and two?
One and two because because Mando leaves his planet on two.
Right. So he's only in three episodes, and in his third appearance, he dies. So in that sense, it does feel early, and it's like, whoa, why would they just? But when you think about it in terms of the actual season, it makes a little more sense.
Yeah, it does here, and a lot of Star Wars news, Nick, pop up, including some pretty big news items.
Yeah, most of them we're going to skim by, but there's two that I want to go into a little bit. So first one, we're going to skim by here is that Star Wars is going to release A New Hope in theaters in April of 2027, which will be the 50th anniversary for the movie and the franchise as a whole, and very exciting milestone, 50 years. I hope to see it in theaters myself.
One question I have here: do you think this is the? There have been rumors flowing around that the original version is the one that got put back in theaters that George I think screened it at Comic-Con I think in last week. But you think we get that one? Or you think we get the special edition from '97?
I don't know. It's a good question. Honestly, I don't have a guess.
Yeah. Interesting to see what George ends up doing here, like suggesting with this. I know George, I think, was big on the specialists being the true versions, but who knows? Maybe he softened in his older age.
Yeah, we'll see. Next is Tim Morrison. Said there are no plans for him to return as Boba Fett, and he encouraged fans who want to see Boba again to ask Lucasfilm to bring the character back. So, in other words, he wants to do it. Lucasfilm said no, and he's saying, guys, talk to them.
Yeah, he's like, I want to do more Boba Fett, and I do feel like there was a big course correction after the show flopped that they think they kind of just pull the character from the plans of anything else because I think they kind of wrote him in a corner.
I don't necessarily agree with the decision. I completely agree with the decision to not keep that show going, but him, you know how I feel about him as an actor in general, but I do think that the character he could play the character right if given the right role.
Yeah,
For case in point, is that episode in Mandalorian season two was absolutely fantastic. So I feel like that there is room for this character again, and I'm kind of upset to see him go.
yeah. I feel like that there is like I think it's just not bringing the character back is throwing the baby out with the bathwater with this situation.
Yeah, it's a little upsetting. I wish that they would, honestly, but
Yeah,
they're not.
yep, they're not.
Next is Deadline reporting that Matt Smith has been cast as the villain in the Star Wars Starfighter movie, which is the Ryan Gosling movie that's coming out. It should be the next movie after this Mando and Grogu movie.
Yes.
And he was previously considered to play a young Palpatine, otherwise a Skywalker, but was not cast in the film. And if you know what he looks like, I think that's a pretty good role for him, a young Palpatine. That's a pretty good one. I didn't know that, and I feel like that would have worked really well.
I think this
Even
was the Colin Trevorrow version. I think he was in the mix for. I think when JJ took over this idea, sort of like went got thrown out.
I think you're right, yeah. And then for those who don't know, he is in House of the Dragon.
Yeah,
And just the look of him is just it's a good look. So
yeah.
I think he'd do well in a Star Wars setting.
I'm intrigued to see how he plays the villain in this movie. I think he's a fun casting choice here, and we should make a mental note that I believe the script for the Colin Trevorrow movie is out there somewhere. So like maybe one day we take a look at it and see like if we think that this end up being better than what we end up getting.
We'll definitely see. It'd be nice to see one day. Next is Matt Jacinto, who played Chimere in The Acolyte, said in an interview that he would love to run it back. He loves that character, loves the franchise, the team. The fans want it. I'm down and ready to go. And look, if there's one thing you take away from The Acolyte is a massive positive. I think it's his performance, his character, everything about it. So, any way we can get him back on the screen, I'm interested.
Yeah, I clearly the one universal sign of approval with this show was Manny Jacinto as Chimera, and I hope this is not turned into a Tim Morrison Boba Fett situation where we just ignore the character because the show was so bad, but like bring him back in something else and finish that story somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The next two are the ones that I want to kind of get into a bit.
Okay,
So, according to the Wrap, viewership for Andor increased by almost 40% from the end of season one to the end of season two. In
okay,
comparison, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show dropped 16% over the course of its season, Ahsoka dropped 31%, and The Acolyte dropped 33%. So Andor, the only show that went up, the other three all went down, let's just say an average of 25% during their run. Andor went up 40% from the end of season one to the end of season two. This tells you, obviously, that people want good content. I mean, we all agree the best of those four shows is Andor.
yeah.
And as you can see, it leads to more people watching it, and that's obviously an important number because the more people that are watching it, the more people that are subscribed to Disney Plus. So if I'm them, I'm looking at this number and saying this is really important that we keep the quality high so we can maintain subscribers.
Yeah, this to me felt very much like a word of mouth show where like people who watched it loved it and are telling all their friends, you need to go watch Andor. It's really good. It's not just good Star Wars, it's good TV, and people are buying in. Whereas like people who watched like Ahsoka or Obi-Wan or act like were not as big on telling their friends to watch the show. And it's so the viewership is dipping, and some of them even dropped out as the show went along.
Completely agree. Yeah, I mean, I think people were a lot more vocal during the Acolyte than they were in the other shows, and I mean that does show because it's a higher percentage. But I was surprised by the Ahsoka dip being nearly identical to the Acolyte dip.
Well, the Ahsoka, I feel like we got really in the weeds. I mean, with I think after the first like couple episodes in terms of like backstory and Clone Wars references and Rebels references, I think I can see the casual saying like I can't keep up with this. I'm out.
I agree. I mean, for us, it's a nice little love letter, but to those who don't really know the previous material that it covers, it's very hard. I
Yeah.
agree.
All right.
Last piece of news here is there are rumored plans for a post Episode 9 timeline in that Star Wars. is going to feature multiple storylines, just like the Mandoverse that's going on now, beginning with Rey's new Jedi Order movie that's set to film next year. This plan would build towards a movie that would bring together a bunch of old characters for a culminating event, some sort of Avengers type, you know, get together movie. And
So it's the
I kind of
SW,
want to discuss this with you, yeah?
it's the SWCU, the Star Wars Cinematic Universe.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, I thought it was all cinematic to begin with, but um, it's very interesting because we haven't even finished the Mandoverse and we don't know how it's going to work. So the fact that they think that they're going to do this in a movie theater kind of like I mean, it kind of hits me like by surprise. Like, really? You didn't even finish this TV one yet, and you're going right back to the movie one yet? Like, why don't we wait and see how this Grogu and or Mandalorian and Grogu movie does next year before we start diving headfirst back into the movie
I,
theaters?
I look at it more as sort of like they look at it sort of like an MCU kind of deal. Like, okay, like we're gonna do a couple of big tentpole movies this timeline. Maybe we'll do some TV shows in this timeline. Like maybe you can like book Oscar Isaac for like a show or something like that, and do a couple other standalone projects. Then bring everybody together in a movie at the end. So I do think it's more along the lines of like not like 10 movies. Like okay, couple movies, couple of shows, maybe an animated show, and then bring it all together. I think that's what they're going for.
I think what I'm struggling to like get my fingers on is they're saying like, oh, we're gonna have an interconnected unit. It's all interconnected. It's always been.
Yeah, I think more of like just interconnected with these characters, not going all the
It
way.
just means we want to make more stuff after episode 9 and make more money, but we're afraid if we put three movies out in theaters and call them 10, 11, 12, people are going to shit on us on the internet. That's
Remember,
what it sounds like to me.
remember, Starfire is in this timeline too, so this is also be part of this.
Everything's in this timeline.
No, I mean
I mean,
Star
not post 9, but you see what I mean, sequel timeline.
well, Starfire is post nine.
Right. Yeah, I'm saying seems like everything they're doing now is post 7.
Yeah, except for the
Actually, that's not really true. There's a lot of stuff between 3 and 4 too.
post six mostly.
True, but then there's also like Bad Batch and there's Jedi Survivor games and whatnot. So I'm wrong in that statement.
All right, so that it for the news department here.
Yeah, I just find that last piece to be really interesting. That's big news.
Yeah, it is very big news here, and let's get to this episode here. I'm going to go here and go out and say I'll let me say Sanctuary. Like it's probably not the one you're going to first on a rewatch. You're probably not going to click on this and say, I have vivid memories of this episode. But I do feel like for the vibe of the show, it feels like a little bit of a cool down from like the action we got the first three episodes. I think it worked for what its purpose was.
I think if this show were to come out today in 2025, and we had discussed this already, I think the first 3 episodes come out on the same night.
Yeah, like I said, I think at least one and two come out the same night.
Yeah, this to me seems like episode 2.
Yeah.
Or this seems like your second arc, if you will. Your first arc ended with Mando deciding to go back and stay with Grogu and decide I'm going to be his guardian, right?
Yeah.
And this is their first step after that decision. And it is a bit of a change of tone. It's a little bit quieter, clearly quieter. How they're literally in a sanctuary.
Yeah.
Name of the episode as well. And it's I like this one a lot. I think that there's a lot of good characters in this episode, and it advances the plot without. It's kind of a filler, you could say, but it advances the plot without being extremely plot heavy.
I think the word filler gets overused because like stuff happens here where like we see Mando's trying to like solve his Grogu problem where he's like, okay, I need to find a place for this kid to live, and then I can go back to my merry way and go like back to my bounty hunting job. Then like he thinks he has it, then by the end, so he's like, this is not gonna work. I have to protect this kid myself because he's gonna get like sniped by somebody if I leave him alone.
Yep, 100%. 100%. I think that was kind of like a wake up call to him, um, to think like, oh, we got out of there. No, it's not just out of there. It's I don't want to say the whole galaxy, but it's just, like people are interested in him. So it's not just a matter of you got out of there. It's a matter of you got to keep him safe now.
Yeah, and Deep Pockets client here, I'm sure definitely raised the price tag after that fiasco.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so let's go bounce around this episode a little bit. Where do you want to start? What's something you want to discuss in this episode?
Well, there's really only one storyline. It's hard to jump around, you know?
Yeah, I think like there are definitely points to discuss though. I think like one we have to sort of address here is that like This is the debut of Cara Dune in this episode. We get her character. She's the former Republic drop trooper, like rebellion drop trooper. We see her get in the fight with Mando, and like there's this whole thing like, I claim this planet is my hiding spot. You have to leave, and then eventually they end up working together to protect these villagers. So, thoughts on seeing Cara Dune's like introduction again? Because like we're not gonna get into the off-screen stuff with Gina Carano, but like on screen, how the character works.
The character's fantastic. It was a great idea.
Yeah.
Um, to have a, I guess, former rebellion member at this time. Because remember, when we're watching this show, at this point in time in 2019, all we have to go off of past six is, I guess there's Star Wars Battlefront 2, but really it's episode 7 and episode 8. Episode 9 hadn't even come out yet. So we're kind of wondering what happened after the rebellion, like what happened after Endor and stuff like that, and we're kind of getting a little more pieces on that, learning about what happened to some of these rebel soldiers. It was a really good idea to just throw her in the show. That's the first thing, and you also get the classic, probably the most famous picture or still image from this show, the Grogu sipping on the cup.
Yeah, this
And
is where that's where the meme comes from. It's this episode.
yeah, that's uh, that's got to be. I think it might be the most famous Grogu picture. Do you think it is?
Oh yeah, I mean we used it when we did the tracker for Grogu eating. That's the one we used.
Yeah, I think it's the most famous picture of him is him holding the cup. So
Yeah.
at least in season one for sure. So absolutely looks cool. I like it. And I forgot what season it is when there's the Babu Frick guy and he's hugging him. I think that's season three.
Season three. It's early season three.
I like that one too. But this one with the cup it's a classic image of Grogu. I believe this is Grogu's picture on Wikipedia is him holding that cup.
I believe that's correct.
So the birth of a classic meme right here.
It is indeed here, and a couple other. I think I liked also is things like this. There's this unspoken code between the people who are just hiding out, where she's like, "This planet, like I was here first. This is my backwater planet." And Mando tells Grogu, "He's like, okay, kid, like this spot's clean. We got to move on."
Yeah, I find it interesting. What are they all hiding from? Maybe I'm just not understanding something.
Well, I think it's like sort of like she just didn't want to be bothered because I remember like he says like, "What's your story?" He's like, "Yeah, like I was working for the Republic, but like then they started having me do stupid stuff like protecting bureaucrats, and I was not in for that." So I think she basically implies she's a deserter in a sense, which is why she's hiding.
That would make sense because there's nothing really to fear right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's basically like she went AWOL. It seems
Yeah, there's nothing in the gal. I mean, it ends up that there is something to fear with Gideon and Thrawn, but at this point in time, the quote unquote good guys don't know that. They just think that there's a Republic out there, and they're. I think the general consensus on the Republic at this point in time is they're okay. They're better than the Empire, but I don't like them.
well, I mean the guild doesn't think like I mean we heard the guild last week with Reef Karga. It's like yeah, the New Republic is useless.
Yeah, I think they're better than the Empire, but not really a good government.
Yeah. Not really. So that's an interesting situation here. Another note I will put here in terms of this situation is the whole we get more Mando backstory in this episode as well because like when he gets dropped off when he ends up in the village and he's getting ready to help defend the village and like the villager O'Mara who like has the crush on him right away basically is trying to get his backstory. You get more about like even just like basically two lines of dialogue like when she asked him why he doesn't take his helmet off, I was like, like the Mandalorians took me in. My parents died in the Clone Wars. They were killed by battle droids. Like they raised you. This is the way. So like I think like a very simple like two-line explanation to add to Mando's backstory without doing a prolonged Boba Fett style flashback sequence.
I was very grateful for that. I do not enjoy flashback sequences.
Yes.
I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it again. I don't mind a little flashback when it's a minute, 30 seconds, whatever. When you're giving me flashback sequence where it's 5+ minutes, don't like it.
Don't remind Nick about the Acolyte in those two episodes.
The Acolyte, Boba Fett, I hate that.
Well, the Acolyte was entire episodes, which is probably the worst part.
I feel like Boba Fett was too for like 90% of episodes.
Yeah, Boba at least had a little bit of bad present content in those.
Yeah, but those I can't stand. Perfect example of a good flashback is exactly what we got in the Mando. I forgot exactly what episode, either two or three.
three last week when we see the
Yeah.
when they're doing the thing sequence where the armor is hammering his armor and he's flashing back to
Yes.
right back.
That is a good flashback in my opinion.
Yeah, so that was a fun one to see to get that backstory here. The main plot of this episode, I feel like, is pretty straightforward. He gets there. This planet is basically being raided by like this is for fishing village to get raided by pirates. The villagers go up to Mando try and get help for this one. He at first refuses, then says, "You know what? Like, wait, you guys in the middle of nowhere, right?" They're like, "Yeah." Like, okay. So he just basically goes aboard, recruits Cara Dune to go help. They can figure they can hide out this village here. And Nick, I feel like we get this is at least I made my notes at least the third time in Star Wars we've gotten this the storyline of like villagers being trained to defend themselves against either pirates or soldiers.
Yeah, I would like to know how much this happens outside of Star Wars because
Clearly, they're inspired by something.
yeah, they are inspired by something, and I don't really. I mean, at the top of my head, I can't really think of anything else where it's happened. So I don't know who comes up with this. Who's the director of this episode?
This is the very first Bryce Dallas Howard episode.
Really
Yes.
interesting. Oh, I don't know. I feel like it's not her style for whatever reason. I don't
Oh,
know why.
this is very. I feel like this is very much the Bryce Dallas Howard style because like she tends to do these kind of like character heavy episodes.
Did she do another one in the season?
No, but I think she does in season two. I think she does Ahsoka's debut. I'm pretty sure.
That has to be Filoni, no?
Well, I will check real quick for you on the Bryce Dallas Howard thing.
Yeah,
But
you think you're right.
I know, I know, I know season two. She does. No, I was getting mixed up. She does Bo Katan's debut.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Robert Rodriguez, that episode, best episode I've ever seen. But that's not the point. Yeah. And it's interesting. I want to know where they got that idea from with helping the civilians because Filoni did it in the Clone Wars. She did it here. What was the other example?
He does it twice in Clone Wars. He does it with the pirates in season two. And then he has the like the Jedi training the rebels on Onderon on season five.
Honestly, I feel like 90% of the Clone Wars episodes are that.
Yeah, it's like them teaching people how to help themselves.
I really feel like that's more than half of the show.
Yeah, this is the first live action example we've seen of it, though.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Because you know what it is? This is the first time we in a live action setting in Star Wars, which is something I really appreciate about this episode, by the way.
yeah,
It's the first time in live action in Star Wars that we could take a chill pill.
yeah.
Because when you're watching movies, there's no time to take a chill pill because you have to finish the thing in, let's say, 2 hours.
It's go, 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 go.
Yeah, and when we're watching the first couple episodes of this show, it's not as nearly as much as a movie go 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 go, but they're trying to get to a certain point, which is the kid, then they develop a relationship, then it goes back for him. Like this is the first time that we can just chill. This is the first chill Star Wars live action television we've ever had.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was.
Yeah. And one thing that's fun here is like we do get the sequence at night with the walker coming in, which is the big thing where they build the trap in the water here. That visual was so cool when you see the red eyes of the walker peering through the trees before the walker comes out. Very horror movie-ish.
I actually remembered when I watched this 5, almost 6 years ago.
Yeah,
And seeing that got me really excited and thinking to myself, wow, we finally live in a time where this can happen.
yeah.
Like a weekly television, obviously it's not every week. They only put out Star Wars in general, what, 10 episodes a year or whatever. But I said like a weekly Star Wars television show where we're going to see really cool stuff like ATSTs, AT-ATs, lightsabers, whatever it may be. This is so cool.
Yeah.
And you know what? Here we are almost 6 years later, and a lot of it has sucked, but it was still really cool.
Like, the visual was fantastic. Like I love seeing,
Absolutely.
and it was very fun too because you had that great anticipation of like, okay, we built the trap in the moat. We're gonna get this thing to come here, and then they give you the great shot of like the walker about to stick its foot in, and the controls going back, and you see Mando's face just goes like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't have to say the word. We just knew he was like, oh, "This is gonna be crazy." At least a wild sequence.
Yeah, and it lived up. I mean, the production on these shows has been fantastic. Like, and not even just Mando, just all of the shows that they've had. That's the one thing you have to give it to them is the production, the special effects, and all this stuff that Star Wars is known for that makes it so great. Every year they win all the awards for this stuff, and it shows why.
It certainly does. Very well produced sequence here. Fun fight. And you don't realize by the end of the episode, apparently, like, weeks have passed from the end of the fight to where we see the pick up the end of the
I
episode.
did not know that.
Because I caught this on a line of dialogue where he's like, it's been like, 'cause I think Cara Dune says, it's been a few weeks since we fought this thing. So, like, this is like weeks that they've been hanging out on this planet before.
Oh, I did not pick up on that line.
Yeah. Because it's basically set, because it says here a few weeks later, in the wiki entry too, a few weeks later, with peace having returned, the shot how he plays with the other children. So that's the shot we see, which is ironically a shot that's sort of like we duplicate the end of season three of Mando in the hut, like watching Grogu play.
Interesting.
So like that's an interesting story that we get that he seems content, and I think Cara Dune basically points out that it's like, like it's very easy for you. Like, you have this like beautiful young widow who's interested in you. Like you could settle down with her, take the helmet off, just forget everything, and he can't do it.
Yeah, yeah. He basically tells her. She asks what happened if you did that thing off, and he says, like, she's assuming he's gonna say they'll kill me, and he's like, nothing. I just can't put it back on then. And they're like, and she's like, okay, take it off then and stay here forever. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's like you can have a family, like you can
Yeah.
settle down, you can get some peace. Like why not?
Yeah, she's almost shocked. Like she's basically saying, "Wait, you mean to tell me that you can just take this thing off, be with this beautiful young widow, stay on this planet where everyone's safe, and not get in trouble, and you're not doing it?" And he's basically like, "Yep,
This is the way.
yep, this is the way." And then one thing leads to another. He says he's going to leave the kid there, and obviously that was short-lived.
Yeah, his big plan is that the episode is like, okay, like the kid's safe. I'm gonna go back to what I have to do. I may face consequences for my decisions here, but I don't want the kid to suffer for it. So his thought is gonna leave him on the planet, but like we don't realize at the time that Grogu's been tracked by a member of the guild who has the fob, and he basically has Grogu dead to rights before Cara Dune kills him behind. And this real sparks man is okay. I have to protect this kid a little longer. I have to leave until I get the bounty off his head. So we almost ended with the parting of the ways here, but the guild was still on the case.
Yeah, and I remember at this point in time when watching this, my original thought process was Mando's goal for Grogu is to take him back to his people.
Yeah,
And for the longest time, we all assumed that meant the Jedi. And
yeah,
I remember thinking, as like my own little head canon, no, he doesn't mean the Jedi. He means his species. And that's how the show is going to end, with him reuniting Grogu with his people.
yeah.
And now I don't think that anymore.
Yes,
But I
no,
thought that then. Now I just think it's just going to be Mando and Grogu solving mysteries with Scooby-Doo forever.
yeah. See, you figure this is gonna be just. You feel like the original vision of this story was that this is how it's gonna end. And then once Grogu became so popular, they just changed course.
And now that's just it's Scooby-Doo. It's going to be 35 seasons of Mando and Grogu, planet to planet, buddy cop.
Yeah, and then like we see teenage Grogu with his force powers helping Mando hunt down Imperials. Like,
Right, eating donuts, drinking coffee.
yeah, I could see this being where they want to go. Especially if the movie makes a ton of money, they will say we'll just make as many Mando and Grogu Avengers.
Yeah, it's like it's going to be buddy cop, Mando and Grogu,
Yeah,
solving mysteries, eating donuts.
odd couple.
Yep.
All right, so I think that's pretty much it for the episode here. So, anything else you want to add before we get to our end of episode stuff?
No, just want to reiterate that point, though, that I haven't really considered that until right now, that this is the first time in Star Wars history, live action, we took a chill pill.
We did here. This episode dropped on November 29th, 2019. I was wrong last week. This was the Black Friday Star Wars episode, was this one.
Okay. Okay.
And obviously, like I said here, we got two main, like the only credited actors here were Pedro Pascal and Gina Carano. Julia Jones plays Omera, the widow, and she has gone on to do other things. I think, like in her IMDb, I don't know wiki here. Apparently, like, if you watched Echo on Disney Plus, she's Chafa for 2 episodes.
A dumb question. Did they film season one and two back to back?
Yes,
Makes sense because I was like, how did season 2 come out in 2020 at the end of the year? They must have filmed it already. So yeah, they did. Okay,
Because remember correctly with this, season one was filmed, but they didn't tell anybody they filmed two.
interesting.
They had it in the can, and they remember at the end of the one, they were surprise, two's coming next year.
Good idea. Good idea. I guess that's why they don't tell anyone because the whole Grogu thing, I think, is why.
It's wild to think about it too. They basically had that Mark Hamill thing sitting in the can for a year and did not leak out.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, wow.
Because I remember because the only reason that even worked is remember 2019 it comes out right around COVID and like in theory like right before COVID goes on like if you had done season one come out renewed for two and then production probably would have started early 2020 been shut down immediately for COVID. So
Yeah, and then they would have had to wait. It would have been a year and a half later, probably.
yeah, because I'm gonna double check the dates on that because I'm 90% sure they filmed one and two back to back.
No, they had to have. Otherwise, there's no way one, 2 would have came out when it did, right?
Yeah. So basically,
Because
yeah,
2 came out in the latter half of the year, like towards the end of the year in 2020. I think November of 2020. So there's no way. October maybe.
yeah, since here in July 2019, Favreau confirmed to be a second season of The Mandalorian. This is obviously before it comes out. The season is written and pre-production underway, and they basically Bob Iger announced in February 2020 the season premiere October. So basically, they were done filming right before COVID.
Oh wow.
And Robert Rodriguez was a last-minute addition to the directing crew.
So they got this in right on time. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. If the filming began October 7th, 2019, using the working title of Huckleberry, that was the working title here.
And we love season 2 here.
And filming of this season wrapped on March 8th, 2020.
And
4
I'm pretty sure like the
September
10th or 11th is when shit hit the fan.
the 11th. 4 days later, see
Yeah.
they finished filming right before the world shut down.
Yeah, I remember for me it was the 12th in terms of work and all that, but the 11th was when
That was
things,
what that was the Rudy Gobert gets COVID and the NBA shut.
right. And then the 12th I went into work and they told us actually, you know what?
Go
Turn
home.
around.
Go home.
Yep.
Yeah, so crazy how they got it in under the gun.
But we love season 2 around here.
We do.
Uh,
We'll go back to it in January.
yeah, the only thing I don't like about season 2 is Pelly Mato's in it, but
Well, you're probably gonna get her next
she's
week.
also in season 1.
Yeah, you're gonna get her next week, I think.
I am.
All right, so let's go ahead here. Let's get to the MVP board for this episode here. So Pete is not here this week. Next week we will be going over Pete's stuff here. So he will give us his scores next week. But
Yeah,
here,
Pete is unfortunately stuck in the cantina again. This guy in the cantina. I don't know what's going on.
oh, he made it there after he was getting chased by the walker.
Yeah, he just goes to the canteen all the time.
All right, so here's the board going into this week. Mando is on top at +4, followed by Keel at +3. The covert from last week got 2 points. Paz Vizsla, Grogu have one. Our negative ones, Grief Karga, the Mythrol, IG-11. Dr. Pershing at -2, along with the Guild. And the Jawas in dead last at -4. So I will give you the floor here first. Like, just MVP side, is this anybody other than Mando?
I don't think it's Mando. I think it's Cara Dune.
You can
Saved
carry
the day.
the point.
Saved the day.
Yeah.
Killed the guy who was about to kill Grogu.
Yeah. I'm giving Mando the point here because remember, just because Cara Dune wanted to basically give up on these people and say, just, you know what, you got to move. You didn't tell us about the walker. Get out of here. And he's like, we'll train them. And he trains these people and gives them a plan to save their village. So he gets the MVP point.
So funny, we're gonna go to LVP now. Um, and
You're giving,
usually, as I went first, I should go second here, but I'm gonna go first here because it writes itself. I'm giving it to Mando because he's a horrible father in this episode. He's leaving Grogu everywhere, saying he's gonna leave him here. Literally within a minute of him saying I'm gonna leave him here, there's an explosion and gunshots. It's like the worst father possible in this moment.
you're saying Mando's a deadbeat dad.
At this point, at the end of the day, absolutely not. He's a great father, but at this point, he doesn't know what he's doing yet.
So at this point, he's just trying to abandon his child. That gives you a point, LVP point from him.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, to be fair to Mando, he did not he does deserve the LVP for not thinking that this kid would ever just that the Empire just forget about him. But like I think his actions overall outweighed it on my end. I'm giving the LVP personally to the Walker pilot because I don't know how you end up losing the situation so badly. Like you have a giant Imperial killing machine. You know not to go in the moat, and somehow you still get the thing crashed and killed and die in the process.
It's funny.
Because it's that's what got at the point for me. He's like the fact is I had forgotten that he all doesn't go in the moat immediately. The fact he doesn't go in the moat and still goes down and knows not to go in the moat. That's a problem.
It's funny.
All right. So next up, you're going to grade the episode on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is worst 978 holiday special. 10 is up there with the prison break episode of Andor, along the Gorman stuff, the pinnacle of live action Star Wars content. I'm going to give this a 6. I think it's a good episode. I don't think you need it on the rewatch. I think it will, like, if it on its own does not hold up some of the better episodes of the series, but it's still enjoyable for a watch. And I think it's a nice, like, the first chill Star Wars. I think it's a good, like, tone set. Like, what's the, like, what's the good way to play it? It's chill. Like, I'd say, like, the way to take a breather is the way I would phrase this episode. So, where are you going here?
6.5.
Okay.
Pretty much all you said. I really appreciate the mellowed down tone in Star Wars. It's the first time we ever got it, and I think that really elevates this up.
It's a stop and catch your breath episode.
Yeah, and like I said, two times, right? This will be the third time I say it now in this episode. This is the first time we ever did this in live action Star Wars. That's got to mean something.
Yeah, and the characters worked. Like the villagers were not annoying. Like they like felt like genuine, real, salty people.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for us this week. Next week we'll have to cover chapter 5, like the gunslinger on, and we go to Tatooine for the first time in Mandalorian.
This was my favorite episode in season one in 2019. We will see if that remains true.
Are you sure? Because this is where Peli makes her debut in this episode.
Yeah, I know, but
We
I
get
liked it at the time. We'll see if I still do.
Yeah, we get a little Jake Cannavale next week. We get Fennec Shan's debut. A lot of stuff happening next week.
Yep, yep. Big Fennec fans here on the podcast as well.
I also believe this is the shortest episode of Mandalorian ever. I think this was like a 27 minute, if I remember correctly.
Damn. Wow, that's something else.
All right, so we'll be back next
You
week.
get Boba Fett too. I mean, his feet only, but you get his feet.
Well, we learn later. It's heavily assumed it's Boba Fett.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be back next week. Pete will be back next week. And as of now, we have a guest lined up for next week as well. Something exciting to see here. So,
We'll
Nick,
not tell you who it is. We'll just tell you that he won 4 NBA championships.
yes, he is a legend. And
Yep.
we'll be back next week to talk about that. Nick, people want to follow us on social media. How can they do that? One more time.
You can follow at Sky Guys Podcast pretty much anywhere.
All right, you can also follow me on social media at mphillips331. It's MPHILIPS331. This is Grover Justin the Suffering podcast. It's football month over here. We're getting a college football preview this week, Nick. You excited for the college football season?
Yeah, I always don't get excited for it until it's happening, and then I realize that, oh yeah, college is on too, and I like it.
Yeah, and you get that first Saturday of games, like, oh, cool, like another full
Yeah,
day of football.
thanks, absolutely.
All right, so that's it for us this week. We'll be back next week with Pete, with probably a guest to cover chapter
Jack,
5.
it's Shaquille O'Neal. That's our guest.
Yep, covering the gunslinger. Until then, may the force be with you.